sit in my field watching sheep. Talk about boring. I wanted to do anything but watch sheep. So, my dad wanted to send supplies to the army or send food for my brothers. I always volunteered to be the one to take the food to them, because I didn't want to watch those stinky old sheep any longer than I had to. So, one day, my dad wanted to send some food to my brothers, and I said, I'll go. So I went, and I saw something strange. You see, I thought I would show up and see my brothers, my family, the men from my town and my village fighting and winning for God. But do you know what I saw? I saw my oldest brothers that used to always pick on me and tell me I wasn't strong enough, big enough, or brave enough, being scared. They were hiding in their tents, afraid of the other army. I want to talk about disappointed. Here my older brothers that thought they were all so big and bad were hiding from the other army. So I started asking around, trying to figure out what's going on. Why are my brothers, who are so tough and strong, hiding? Why are they afraid? And do you know what I found out? I found out that the other side, there was a giant. His name was Goliath. Goliath was over 9 feet tall. Now, Marshall, can you come stand next to me? You asked the question, how tall is that?
Whoa!
You want to know how tall that was?
Okay.
Picture me, and then picture if Marshall was standing on my shoulders. We would still be shorter than Goliath. That's how tall Goliath was.
What if all of us sat on your head?
Goliath's head would touch the ceiling.
Wow.
He would have to duck to get in here, yes.
Really?
Yes. That's how tall Goliath was.
Wow.
He doesn't look that tall to me.
I know, the pictures don't do him any
He
justice.
looks pretty big.
But he...
I think he
can you
does.
picture Marshall on top of me?
Yes.
That would make us pretty tall, right?
Yeah.
Whew, that's how big he was. Marshall, thank you. You can sit down. Not only was he that tall, but the armor, you see the armor in the picture?
Yeah.
There are people that say his armor would have weighed 78 pounds. That spear in his hand could have been as long as 27 feet.
Hey.
The tip of that spear, you want to know how much it may have weighed? 17 pounds. Just the tip of the spear. That's how big this guy was. He could one hand this big old spear. Now you tell me, would you guys be afraid in that situation? This is why my brothers were afraid. Can you wait until after my story? You know what I did after I found all this information out? I went to King David, not King David, King Saul, and you know what I told King Saul?
He wanted to defeat.
That I wanted to fight the giant. That I wanted to fight this 9-foot tall giant who had a 27-foot long spear and wore 78 pounds worth of armor.
Whoa.
And I was just a little bit older than you guys. And probably not much bigger than you guys. Kind of silly, right? kind of crazy. So King Saul said, okay, you want to fight the giant? Go for it. Now King Saul, being the wise king he was, decided that he would try to help me out. And King Saul gave me his armor. Now remember, King Saul's an adult. I'm your guys' age. Do you think that armor fit well?
No, but it would be really heavy and big.
Heavy, big, kind of made me unsteady on my feet.
Bulky.
So I took the armor off, and I said, you know what I need? I just need some rocks and my sling. I don't need armor because I am not fighting this battle by myself. You see, it wasn't David that was going to fight this battle. It was God. So I, knowing and trusting that God was with me, walked out to the battlefield. And when Goliath saw me, oh, he laughed. Ha, 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 ha. What do you think I am? A dog? That's what he says. You know why he said that? He thought I was some little shepherd boy, wasn't going to stand a chance.
He was laughing in there.
He was laughing. He thought I must be crazy. And I told him,
You may have sword and spear, but I have not.
I told him, you may have sword and spear, but I have God on my side. And I took my rock and I put it in my sling. You guys may call it a slingshot. And I started to twist it.
Are you actually going to sling
And I
that?
spun it, and I spun it, and let it go.
The whole thing? Even the sling?
No, I held one end of the sling. And this rock right here, flew and hit Goliath right in the forehead. And Goliath fell to the ground with a mighty thud. Shh, we're not telling that part of the story tonight.
I guess they're yeah.
And you know what? You know who? You know who won the battle?
You.
Not me.
God.
God. God won the battle. I was just a little shepherd boy with no armor, no spear, no sword, but a rock. A rock that took down the mighty Goliath. And it was right.
How did God win?
How did God win? Well, who do you think made the rock hit Goliath in the head? This giant was running at me in full speed, and this little rock, hit him in the forehead. I'm good, but I ain't that good. I've tried to make that shot again. What happened? Not on my best day. God guided the rock to take down the giant. You know why God could do that? Because God is invincible. Now, do you guys know what that word means?
There's two kinds actually. There's one where you're like really powerful and all that, and the good way. Then there's also the one where you can't see anything.
It's close.
Invisible.
Yeah.
We're close. We'll go with your first answer. That you're so powerful and so mighty that nothing can stop you. That's God. And not only is that God, but that's God's love for us. God's love is so powerful and so mighty that no matter what we do or what it's up against, it will overcome. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I'm not always the best guy. I make some really bad choices sometimes in my life. I kind of mess up. I think you guys might sometimes call it sin. I do that. I make bad choices. I do things that might make God a little mad at me. But you know what? If I ask for forgiveness, God's love is so big, so powerful, that no matter how bad I am, God still loves me and will still forgive me. And how amazing is that?
Amazing.
It is pretty amazing. So, can you guys do me a favor?
Tell everybody your secret.
No, smarty pants.
Tell everybody your secret.
When you see a rock, they're all over, right? Like we see rocks when we walk around. I want you guys to think about my story. And think about how incredible and how invincible God is and God's love for us is. That's all. Just a reminder. I heard that from the first group that you guys may have done something called painting rocks.
Yes.
I still don't understand why you would paint a rock. We didn't paint rocks in my day.
So other people can find them and bring them to hide them. Have rocks with orange.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, we can put rocks in it. Probably doesn't. It was fun to invent.
They're rocks.
And it's going to say God is love on it.
Oh, see.
It's a message.
There's the message. And that's, even if you don't see that painted on a rock, think about that every time you see a rock. Now, I think we might have some snacks.
Yes.
Yep, we're ready for
Chocolate
snacks.
chips and marshmallows and graham crackers put together and they're so delicious.
Okay, sit down. Come on, sit down. We'll get over you. Okay.
Did anybody lose this?
What's that?
It's a little cross.
I'll take it.
Anybody lose it?
Mine.
No, you have to. You can't just claim it. You have to.
I know.
Nobody owned it. Okay.
Hey, stay still and eat your snack. They got juice for you too.
So delicious. It looks like s'mores, but it isn't. It looks like a bear.
Wait! You just put those together and make a s'more.
It is a s'more, but you have
It's
to
your
melt
snack.
it.
You do what you want.
Hey,
You
they're
can
little
eat it.
eyes. They're little eyes and a mouth. Wait, we have to get
That ought to get you going with a little bit of sugar.
Make a s'more.
I love
This is
sugar.
the exact same.
Sugar. Thank you. Why are you lifting up the whole camera? With crayfish?
Does not work.
Try lifting up the marshmallow.
One more.
That's sticky.
Look where you take it.
So what do you guys see here?
What is that?
A frowning bear.
A frowny bear?
Mine's frowning.
No longer something.
I see.
No.
Mine's frowning. Yummy. This is extra sweet. I think marshmallow.
My imagination, it's a really bad s'more.
Take one of your snacks.
Is it good?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
At least it doesn't
to me.
Tastes better than this.
Last night? Better than last night? Where's your brother?
I don't have one.
Oh.
I don't got one.
So
I'm
let's-
sick. If you want to know where he
So
is.
let's juice up. We need a juice up here.
Me too.
Juice.
Oh wait, I got one.
There's one juice up here with this.
So you guys got any questions about David and Goliath?
Does he have no shoes?
Why does David have no shoes in the
There you go.
picture?
He went four.
Well, that's one reason. The other reason is he was a shepherd. So he spent all of his time in the fields, stepping on sheep poop, stepping on rocks. What happens when you guys go a long time without wearing shoes?
You get calluses.
You get calluses. Your feet get tough and hard on the bottom.
You get a splinter.
You could get splinters. Well, David, I was so used to walking around without any shoes on that the bottoms of my feet were almost as hard as the bottom of a shoe because the skin had gotten tough with calluses. So I didn't need shoes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. It made me a little bit quicker. You see, Goliath with his shoes, he could have tripped, they could have come untied, could have caused him to fall.
You don't got my shoes back then.
Huh?
You don't have my shoes back then.
He's wearing shoes.
No, they're sandals.
Don't got
They were not
flat ones.
invented by our
Don't got sneakers.
technology.
You're right, they don't got sneakers, but how do you think they held them on the feet?
They used a strap,
Which was probably tied.
string.
Right, so they were still tied.
No, like an apple
Did it?
string from spiders.
I think those will happen after you
They could also get untied.
So what happens after David defeats the giant Goliath?
He cuts off his head and drags it to the king.
David does, in fact, use Goliath's sword
Give this one.
to cut off Goliath's head to take to King Saul to prove that the giant had been defeated.
But I thought King Saul was there doing it. No.
King Saul was hiding because he didn't think David was going to win. He thought the shepherd boy was crazy and was going to get pulverized by this giant. So David had to take something back to prove that he won. You know the other interesting thing about David and Goliath, the story? We talked about two of the characters in this picture. We didn't talk about the third. Who's this other person in this picture?
I want to ask a question about him. Why are all the soldiers holding a weird season?
Yeah. Who's this?
A soldier.
A soldier? Do you know what his job was?
To protect me. Oh, he was when it was a night when God told him to go somewhere, right?
No. This guy?
No.
You know whose shield that was?
Goliath.
Goliath's. That soldier's sole job was to stand in front of Goliath with Goliath's own shield. Because Goliath's shield was so big that it took another person to hold it in front of him. Because Goliath had this big, massive spear. He also had a sword. So he couldn't hold his own shield.
Why?
He was the best soldier that the entire army had, so they had a second person. That's a shield. That's to protect Goliath.
Why is that a big sea serpent with arms?
Well, that would have been one of their gods
They're decorated, just painted.
that they would put on there for good luck to try to protect Goliath a little bit more.
Yeah, like God.
I remember back then they believed in lots of gods, but there is only one God, and that's what they were trying to prove. They were trying to prove that there's only one God.
The Vikings started turning into Christians because some started becoming Christians, and the other Vikings thought they would die from their gods, but they did nothing. So they all thought maybe the gods have no power. So they all just became Christians.
What was your question you wanted to ask?
I would ask why there's sea serpents on it.
Oh, yeah, that was their god, one of their many gods.
Okay, make sure your plates and your juice boxes get in this trash, or that trash.
Other questions about
Any
David?
more questions for David?
Otherwise, we changed to join it.
Why what?
Why are you being so proud of them?
Change his.
Why am I so proud about myself? Well,
One of the things you said to me.
that was one, you know how I said I was not always the best guy? My pride, my self-assurance, that was one of the things that got me into trouble a lot when I got to be a little bit older. That was one of the things that God had to work on me with. But when you're a kid, and you take down a 9-foot tall giant, don't you think you might be a little bit proud of yourself? I mean, come on, that's a pretty big deal, right? Sam, if you took down a 9-foot tall giant right now today,
Whose is this?
you'd walk around kind of proud of yourself, right? Yeah, I mean, that's why I got proud. I mean, come on.
And David, after you defeated Goliath, do you tell them what happened? As far as like how the Israelites.
They made you king, King David.
King, I do ultimately become king.